Hi, everybody. It's Stacy Paulson. I'm excited to have everyone on this webinar today. It's something that I'm super passionate about is finances, and that's what I went to college for, was business management with an emphasis in finances. And so let me just start off by giving you an introduction, and then we'll talk about the objectives of this webinar. So first off, this is a trailer that I used to live in when I was younger. So I came from a place where I would consider us poor. That we lived in this trailer for a while, and we always had free school lunch. I remember we had, at one time, a Mercedes. But this Mercedes was so old that if you pulled up the floor mat, that you could see the road as you were driving down the road because it had rusted out. My parents always struggled with finances. Not that they weren't hard workers. They were very hard workers. They were always working. My mom at different odd jobs. She eventually started working at a bank. But we always lived paycheck to paycheck. And I remember thinking that somehow I wanted things to be different for me. But as a kid, it had a huge impact on my life. For good. I think ultimately I let it be something that I was able to learn from and develop strengths in. But as a child, I remember always being concerned about money. When we went shopping to make sure that I got the cheapest thing, I didn't want to be a burden to my parents, and so that was a concern. I remember starting to work back when I was 8. I would help my friend's mom who owned a motel, that I would go and clean rooms at the age of 8 because I wanted to be self-sustaining. I didn't want to be a burden to my parents, but that's what I felt as a child. But also growing up, I didn't want to have that source of stress and contention in my home. And I've discovered and learned so many things over the years of things that we can do to help detoxify our finances. And when I say detox, is that there might be things that we believe or things that are in our life that aren't serving us very well. Just like with detoxing your body, that there's toxins in there that if we eliminate them, we feel so much better. It's the same thing with our finances. If we're able to eliminate some of the ways that we think or some of the things that we're doing that can help us to feel better financially, then that's what I want to do. So the objectives of this webinar are to teach you why and how to detoxify your finances, show you that it's possible and that it's worth it, and then also give you support to be successful. So right now you have a little bit of homework, or I want you to pull out a piece of paper because I want you to get real. I want you to think about within your life, what are your biggest financial frustrations? I talk to a lot of people. I get to hear a lot of different stories and situations. And a lot of what I'm hearing is that I don't have enough money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I feel that when I do save, often something happens and I have to use that savings. So I'm feeling like I never get ahead, that I can't afford education, that maybe people are swimming in debt, that they have a lot of debt that they're trying to get paid off. Feeling that they don't have any or enough saved for retirement, or they're not even thinking about retirement because either it seems too far in the future or they're just worrying about their basic needs right now. Others who have mounting medical costs or expensive prescriptions. There are a lot of people that I talk to who they don't travel because they don't have the money, don't go on vacations, or the vacations that they take are stay vacations. They stay at home and do things around there. Now that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But if money were not an issue, they may choose to do something else. And here's what I'm seeing a lot of, is that a lot of people are feeling stuck in the jobs that they have, whether it's themselves or their spouse, that it's either a dead-end job, that the biggest raise they get is at the end of the year. They might get a small percentage raise, and they look forward to their tax return because that seems like a bonus. They may feel unappreciated in the work that they're doing, or they don't like it, or they don't like the people that they're working around, that it doesn't pay enough, doesn't pay them what they're worth, or that they can't find another job, or they can't find a job and they've been laid off. There's others who are like myself and are completely capable of working, but they want to stay home and be with their children. yet finances are tight. So they're looking at, what are my options to helping support my family? Others who have lost jobs. So this is a lot of what's going on. And so I want you to think and write down, what would be your top frustration with your finances? Is it that you're looking to purchase a new home and you want to be able to do that and afford it and afford the one that you want in the location that you want? Is it that you're trying to save for your children's education? Is it that you just want to have enough, just have enough to provide for your basic needs and not have to buy garbage food, the processed stuff? You want to be able to afford good, healthy food. And none of these things are bad, but what is it that you are most frustrated with? Now, I want to help you to get real, because sometimes I will talk to people and they just kind of mask what they're feeling because they're trying to be positive about their situation. And so they don't necessarily want to talk about the realities of their life. So I wanted to bring some realities to you. And if you're honest with yourself, I want you to write down some of these that maybe this is that maybe this is a situation that you're in. So about 40% of Americans say that only $500 of extra income would dramatically improve their financial situation. 77% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So if that's you, write it down. That's a frustration that I'm living paycheck to paycheck. That if you did not have a job anymore, would you still have an income coming in? 55% of Americans say that their income is falling behind the cost of living, and that only 6% say that their income is actually going up faster than the cost of living. That means that 40% that they're just staying right at the cost of living, so they're never really getting ahead. So majority of people, that's 94% of people, that they're either falling behind the cost of living or that they're not getting ahead. And that $1.22 on average is spent by Americans for every dollar that we earn. So a lot of people are going into debt. Also, 62% of Americans will retire with a yearly income of less than $10,000. 30% of workers say that they have less than $1,000 saved. That's absolutely amazing to me. These are people who are working, have less than $1,000 saved. Also, at the age of 50, so these people are 15 years to retirement, but 75% of these people have less than $5,000 in the bank for retirement. 75%. So let's move ahead to the people who are retiring. 45% of those people who are retiring, that they depend on relatives. 30% depend on charities. 23% still have to work because they can't afford to quit. And that only leaves 2% of people who are self-sustaining. So you may not be at retirement age. You may not even be thinking about this, but this is the reality. And that things don't just change on their own if you don't start thinking about it. All of a sudden, fast forward 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that things are going to be different if you don't start thinking about those things now. So write these down if this is something of where you're at. Is any of this familiar? Do you know anybody that's been laid off in the past few years, or who is maxed out on their credit cards, or just having a hard time paying their bills? Whether that's you, whether that's somebody you know, this is so common. And 500,000 jobs are being eliminated each year due to technology. And these jobs aren't coming back. An example of this was my mom. She works at a bank. And her bank is now making a lot of changes and either laying people off or trying to reduce their pay, put them in different positions because of technology. So there's a lot of people who don't go into banks anymore. There's so much that we can do either on our phone or that we can do on the internet, that they don't need to have a full staff of people at a physical bank. So those jobs are not coming back, despite what my mother may think, or that the bank is being unfair to her. The reality is that things have changed, and so jobs are being eliminated. And the average American has $15,000 in credit card debt. And do you know that how long it would take to pay off just $8,000 in credit card debt, paying the minimum payment, and if you had the average interest rate of 18%? It would take you 47 years to pay off that amount of money. Those credit cards just can suck the life out of you. In addition, let's talk about education. So for those who have college education or are getting a college education, or it might be your kids in the future, that the average college graduate will work 11 different jobs in 5 different careers during their life. And many people who are graduating now are swimming in debt, and they're not even getting jobs that are within their degree. So they go to school and they're not even able to find a job that they studied for, or that they're being paid not what they're worth. Also think about this. Retirement planners say anyone under the age of 40, which is probably a majority of people in here. Oh, I have something that says that they cannot hear. Let me see if I can change that. 1 second, Sherry. Let me jump in and see if I got everything set straight. It looks like it should be working. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Microphone is not on mute, I think. Nope. Let me go back and see if Sherry can hear now. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. Can you hear now? Apologize for the delay. Okay, here we go. So if you look at this retirement age, under the age of 40, you'd need at least $2 million saved up to have a comfortable middle-class retirement. How many of you have $2 million sitting around? How many people have that saved? It's just not that common. So I want you to think about, I really want you to think about how is this impacting you? Because I remember as a kid how this was impacting me, but how is this impacting you in your life, wherever you're at? Whether it's not, whatever your frustrations are. Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling tired? A lot of people will get really tired because of that stress, or they feel depressed, or they might have other physical symptoms that manifest as a result of this stress that they're under, whether it's headaches, feeling sad, anxious, getting stomach aches. You might get migraines. A lot of people that I've talked to, that they feel a lot of guilt because they're not providing what they would like to for their families. Others are talking about how they get angry faster, that they're very snappy with their kids because of the pressure and frustrations that they're experiencing, that's coming out, and that's how it's impacting them. But I also want you to think about how it's impacting your family and your relationships with not changing this. Like I said, as I remember as a kid, that I felt a lot like many of these pictures, that even though I don't know if my parents were aware of how I felt, but there was a lot of tension in the air, whether they were fighting about finances in front of us or as behind closed doors, or you could just feel the tension in the air, that I knew when those times we stay out of the way. And so often felt lonely, that not being a part of that, feeling maybe a lack of love because my parents are having to worry about these other things. There was a lot more fighting in our home, and just that worry and concern. So those were the things that was impacting me. But think about how it's impacting you, your family, your relationships, and the people that I talk to. These are a lot of the things that they express, is that they're feeling these and that, and it's impacting them in a lot of negative ways. So where do you really want to be in your life, and how do you want it to look? Now, if you're not willing to go there, I'd say just go ahead and shut off the webinar. You don't need to go any further with it, because you're not going to get anywhere if you're not willing to look into the future and really imagine what it is that you want. I think a lot of us have stopped dreaming about what it is that we want, and we're just saying, this is reality, and that this is what I'm going to deal with, and this is how it's going to be. I'm just going to be happy about it. I'm going to be grateful for what I do have. That's fine, but if you want change to occur, you need to figure out what it is that you want, so you have a target to shoot for. Is it that you just want a nicer home, or a bigger home, or live in a different area, go to a different school, live in a different city or state or different country? Do you want to be spending more time with your family? This is a big one. That oftentimes there are people who are financially that they have a good job, that they're providing for the needs, and they're able to do a lot of the things that they want, but they're not having that family time together. They might be dads working from 9 to 6, and the only time that they see him is a few hours after work, a few hours on the weekend. And if mom and dad are both working, then that might be even less time. Or I know a lot of people who are working more than one job to make ends meet. And so that is sacrificing the time that we have with our family. So would you want more time with your family? Do you want more opportunities to serve and help other people? Are you doing what it is that you love to do? Would you be traveling more, seeing different parts of the world, not just taking staycations, but actually getting out and doing things? Would you have less stress because your debt is paid off? These are the things that you need to write down and say, this is really what I would like. This is really where I want to be. And I had to get clear on that myself, because all I knew is, as I was growing up, is I didn't want to have what my parents want, but I didn't exactly know what it is that I did want. And it wasn't until I started getting more clear on what it is that I did want that I was able to move my life in that direction. So think about your own life. Fast forward 10 years from now. Is what you're doing right now, is it going to get you where you want to be? Because most people, if they continue doing what it is that they're doing, that their life in 10 years will look the same as it does right now. And if you're okay with that, fantastic. If you're not okay with that, then there's some things that I want to share with you that can help you to change the direction of your life. So there is a time for a plan B. For those of you who don't have one, or for those of you that do, I want to share some things that might speed it up to get to where you want to be. If you don't have that $2 million saved up, and if you don't have a plan B, then what I'm going to share with you is a really good plan B. So I hope you'll pay close attention. So I'm going to share with you 2 secrets to detoxifying your finances. Like I said, I went to school, business management, emphasis in finance, and a lot of this stuff was not taught in school. A lot of this came from discovering other people's successes and where truly we can find success. So the first one that I want to share with you, the first secret, is that you have to become your own boss. You're not going to get freedom working for other people's dreams. You're not going to have time freedom. You may have financial freedom, but you're not going to have that time freedom working for somebody else's dreams. You're going to be tied to their hours, their schedule. They will tell you when you need to be here, when you need to take a lunch break, when you can go home. You will not have that time freedom, even if you do have the financial freedom. And oftentimes people don't have the financial freedom because they are in a dead-end job, that their employer can only pay them so much to be a profitable business, and recognizing that. So what are the ways that we can become our own boss? There's several different ways we can do that. We could go ahead and write a book or make a CD. And I know there's many successful people who have done this. Now, would I say that they have become financially secure? Not necessarily, but it's been a good opportunity for them to make an extra income. So that might be a solution or option for you. You might be one that has things to say and can do it through words. I'm not necessarily that type of person. But if you're that type of person, or others who have done it through blogs, so they've done their writing online, and that can start creating that where you're your own boss. It's your own thing. Other ways that people can do this is through investments. So either through the stock market or through real estate. There are some people that I know who have been successful at buying real estate, and then they're able to create that extra income as they're either selling it, fixing it up, or they're renting it out, that they've made, money there. And in a sense, they've become their own boss. My brother, he's really good at the stock market. He's self-taught. He spent lots of time learning about the stock market, and he does pretty well. And so even though he does have a job, he has this kind of side gig going on where he's kind of created being his own boss. Now, the one that I have the most experience in, and what I want to talk mostly about, is being able to buy or start a business or a franchise. And this is traditionally what most people will do. So there's different ways that you can do that. You can see that a franchise would be basically you're buying something that's already set up. There's already a system, like Burger King. Here's what it looks like. Here's the food that we make, la-di-da-di-da. In that sense, the good thing about it is that the system, it works. That they know that these franchises work. That's why people want to buy them. It's already set up and established. You don't have to do a lot of thinking about that. However, they're very expensive, very, very expensive. So generally people have to go into debt to buy a franchise to start that type of business. Another sort of type of franchise would be if you're doing some kind of sales on eBay, Amazon, where you're creating a product, but there's already a system in place and marketing that a lot of that's already done for you, that you can tap into that system. So in a way, it's kind of like a franchise. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I was really successful at doing that type of business. And then you have your traditional business where you either rent a location and set up your business. Whether you're selling something, you have a service, you might be a massage therapist, you might make cool things or sell clothes, whatever it might be, you have a traditional business. Again, with that, it helps to create being your own boss. So now you can do your own thing. The sky would be the limit for you. Now, I want you to tell you the reality of these things, that not a lot of people are that successful at writing books, a very small percent. And a lot of the books that are being written now are electronic books. And so it's easy to get published, but it's hard to make money because there's so many people doing it. Investments, again, it takes a lot of time and a lot of knowledge to actually be successful at the stock market. And real estate, again, you need a lot of capital coming in, or you're going to have to borrow the money to start that type of business with real estate. And franchising, again, expensive. We talked about that. Traditional business. If you start a traditional business, your odds of success are much lower. According to the Small Business Association, at least 50% of small businesses fail in their first year, and 95% fail within the first 5 years. So after 5 years of working 12-hour days and possibly in debt up to your eyeballs, you only have a 5% chance of succeeding. And for some reason, that doesn't do it for me. So here's also what I discovered, though. The 82% of women in the United States who are making over $100,000 a year, they did it through a home-based business. So not a traditional business, but they were doing it through a home-based business. And this doesn't just have to be women. It can also be men. It can be families that are creating these businesses by doing it from their home. Now, one way that I did that was through eBay. So back when I lived in Duchesne, Utah, I started my own business from home through eBay. The nice thing about it was a low startup cost. I didn't have to put into it thousands and thousands of dollars just to get started and to become profitable quickly. And so that's what I did. I started small. I started buying scrapbook supplies that I found at deep discounts, and then I would resell them on eBay. And it started out small, and it started to grow and started to grow more, where I was finding stores that were going out of business, and I would buy up all their inventory, and I was spending thousands and thousands of dollars to get the inventory and then sell it online. And it was going so well that I had to start hiring employees so that I could have somewhat of a life, that I employed people that would help put these packages together, that would help with the shipping. I all of a sudden became an accountant, a manager of people. I had to manage my books. I was a shipping expert, an marketing expert, all of this all in one. And let me tell you, my life became consumed by this business. So we were making a really good income. We were at one time making over $20,000 a month, which was fantastic. We were able to pay off our home. We were completely out of debt, and it was really good until I started to realize how little time I had and how tied I was to this business. So even though I was my own boss, I still had a boss. If I didn't show up, if a sale didn't take place or a package wasn't sent, that I didn't get paid. And so that was the one thing that I found that didn't work for how I wanted my life. I didn't want to be tied to something. And so let me share with you the second secret to detoxifying your finances. So the first one is becoming your own boss and creating your dream by doing your own thing. But the second would be that you've got to employ the concept of leverage. And this is working hard once and getting paid over and over and over again for that effort. So I just wanted to quickly share with you the story of this man who lived in a village, and there wasn't a water source. So he decided for his job that he would get buckets and he would travel up to the water source and he would haul these buckets back and people would buy his water. And the more trips he took, the more water that he sold. So he had a really good business and he made a really good income. And there was another man who decided he was going to do that same thing for his job. There was plenty of need for water, so he got his buckets and started traveling up to the water source, and he would walk back and sell his water. And instead of taking as many trips as he could in a day to make a lot of money, he decided that he would make enough trips that would provide for his family's needs and a little bit extra, and that with his extra time that he would start digging a pipeline. So it took time for him to build this pipeline, and it took a lot of work and effort, and it took some money to do that. However, when he was able to finish that pipeline and turn on the spigot, what happened was now he had this continual flow of income. As the water would flow, people would buy it. It was cleaner, it came faster, and he was able to make more. And so what he did was he was getting paid over and over and over again for work that he did in the past. And that's the idea of leveraging your time and your skills, and it creates what we call residual income. And that's what I was missing in my business. Even though I was creating a great income, that I had been hauling buckets. So I had to sell in order to earn an income. It didn't matter what I did in the past, that I had to make a new sale and a new sale and a new sale. And that's how it would continue for the rest of my life, that as soon as I stopped, that income would stop. However, there are ways that we can create this residual income and do it part-time from home. And so I want to share with you how that has worked for me. And this may or may not be for you, but it's been such a tremendous change in our financial situation that I want other people to understand that this is available to them. So I really call this the gift that I was given, because one day I was standing in a hayfield with my friend Elise, who was on the webinar. Hi, Elise. So I was standing in a hayfield, and I have allergies, and have had them since I was 12 years old, my first girls camp. And so I thought I was probably gonna have to go home. But my friend came up to me with some essential oils, and she said, you know, this might work for your allergies, you wanna try some? And so I took that, and I put a couple drops on my finger, and I rubbed it over the bridge of my nose, and within a couple of minutes, my allergies were gone. And I was floored because I'd never heard of essential oils. I didn't know what they were, and it seemed kind of voodoo, wacko, weird to me. However, it worked. And at the time, I had some other health issues that it didn't seem like traditional doctors were getting to the root cause of, with migraines and miscarriages and joint issues, as well as sinus infections. So I was experiencing those things at that time. And knowing that the essential oils had worked for my allergies, I thought, well, maybe there's something else for these other health issues. And as I researched more and more, I discovered that there was. And I was really excited to try some of these things. Now, as I was researching, I also discovered that this was one of those, what would you call, pyramid schemes, one of those MLMs, network marketing things, which in school, when I went to college, most of the professors talked about not getting involved in those, that's something that you shouldn't do. So I always still steered clear of that. I never went to those parties or hosted any of that stuff. So when I learned that that's what this was, I was totally skeptical. And honestly, I decided I was going to buy some oils just online from someone else, just because this was one of those things. Well, when I found that they didn't work as well as they did the other oils that I got from my friend, I thought, well, I don't really care what this thing is, because I need a solution to my problem. So I'm going to go ahead and try this. I don't care what that thing is. I'm not interested at all in, in that type of business. However, I love the oils. I love the essential oils, and over a year, I continued to use them and absolutely love them. And I started to share them with other people, and it was a fantastic thing. I was able to help other people, but I wasn't getting paid for it. And then what I discovered is that this business model of network marketing or direct sales actually, when it's done right, is focused on people and it's focused on service. So I looked at my friend Elise and found that here she was helping me, she was serving me, she was trying to help bring a solution to my life that would make things better for me. And in addition, that she was making an income. Also, I discovered that anyone could succeed at this. It didn't matter if you had a business degree. It didn't matter if you knew anything about essential oils. And that you could have more time with your family because it was your own thing. You could do it when you want, where you want, from wherever you wanted. So you had that flexibility of time. You didn't have a commute. You were doing it from home. So it seemed like it was fantastic idea. And I thought, you know, compared to my other business that I had started, this is, again, it had a low startup cost. I didn't have to buy a bunch of product and sell it. So I didn't have any overhead, that there was a quick return on my investment. And with such a small amount put in, there was a huge opportunity to create a residual income. Basically, if I go to the next slide, I'll show you what the direct sales model is if you take a look here and you have the manufacturer, so somebody who produces a product, the traditional marketing model is that you have people who distribute that product. So you'll have your international distributor who distributes it to the regional distribution chains, and then it goes to the local, and then it goes to your retail outlet, so it will be put in the stores. And then separate from that, you have your advertising and marketing either department in-house, or you have an advertising and marketing company that you hire to spread the word that these things are so great and this is how you use them. So approximately 75% of the end cost is eaten up by all of these middlemen. So what direct sales model is basically it's taking it from manufacturer to the consumer. And the people who are advertising and marketing the product are the people who are using it. Now, everybody is a network marketer, everybody. Basically, all it is, let's say, for instance, you love a movie. You go to this movie and that was like the best movie I've ever seen. So when your friend is talking to you about going to a movie, what do? You say, oh, you got to go see this movie. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved this movie. We went here and we saw it and it was great. Another thing might be you discovered a great sale at this store and I absolutely love these skirts. Well, oftentimes you'll tell your friends, like, yeah, go there. They're having this sale. But that store or that movie producer does not pay you for that advertising that you did. You just basically did it for free for them. However, in direct sales or network marketing, you now are paid by that manufacturer for promoting their product. And with authentic network marketing, that's when you actually do love the product. You're not just trying to sell somebody, like you actually love it and use the product. And so that, when I learned that, it was like, oh my goodness, this is like the perfect setup. Because here I can be that person who is sharing and helping and serving other people on my own time. When I have time, I have 6 kids. So when it works for me, and because I do that, help support other people who are going to be using these products, that company pays me instead of paying an advertising company. And so that opened my mind to, oh wow, this is okay. And this is actually one of those secrets to creating residual financial freedom. So why did I choose the company that I chose? This has a big play in our financial situation, because basically with that residual income, I get paid a small percentage of whatever anybody in my organization purchases every month. So when I first started, it was just me. So I got paid nothing. And then there were a few other people who I taught how to use essential oils. Their lives are being blessed by those oils. And so doTERRA was paying me whenever they purchased. They would just give me a small percentage of whatever they purchased. Well, that, fast forward 4 years from now, is nearly 17,000 people who purchase oils. And I get paid a small percentage of that every single month. So every single month, it's like I have that pipeline that I've turned on. This is work that I've done in the past, whether it's I've helped certain people in the past and they continue to purchase over and over and over again, that I get paid over and over and over again for that work. So why is doTERRA such a great opportunity? Why did I choose to do this with them? Well, the owners are absolutely amazing, and this makes a huge impact. There's just a few things that impact a network marketing company. There's the product, there's the company itself, and then there's the compensation plan. So one of those things being the company, that knowing that you're working with solid people. They are completely debt-free. and they're never going to go public. They're never going to sell the company. There's just 7 owners, and they want to have control over the company because one of their missions is to help families to get out of debt. So there's not a lot of hype and stuff with that, go win a car or whatever, but it's really helping families to get out of debt while they're using natural products that help their family. It's the highest retention rate of any network marketing company. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So you can see some of the reasons why. Also, timing is a big thing. There's a lot of people who are looking for natural alternatives. About 70% of the US is looking for natural solutions. They're looking for natural ways to take care of their health. And about 55% of people have used essential oils, and that continues to grow as people are seeing the success that others are having, as there's more science that's being provided, that a lot of people are choosing that route of essential oils. And the other thing that I absolutely love about doTERRA is called co-impact sourcing, and I wish I would have added a few extra slides here, but basically what they do is they try to source the oils from where they grow indigenously or naturally. And so a lot of these oils or plants are grown in third world countries. And so doTERRA will help and work with the growers in those countries so that they can provide, the best crops that they can, so that they can continually produce more crops. And not only that with the crops, but they help those communities. For instance, in Haiti, there was where they grow vetiver, that the children were not going to school. With the devastation that had happened in Haiti, the children weren't going to school because they were spending most of their time having to travel to where there was a water source. And then when they got the water, they would have to spend time boiling it so that it would even be usable. And that's where most of their time was spent. So doTERRA, seeing that this was preventing their children from going to school, they helped to build a well right there in their community so they didn't have to take the time to travel to the water source. And that's what this co-impact sourcing is about, is that it's helping the communities where these oils are being sourced so that those communities can thrive, not just with the jobs that they're having with growing these and harvesting the plants, but also in other ways within their community so that they can thrive. And so they are being blessed by producing them, and we are being blessed by being able to use them and get them from these different countries. So they call it co-impact sourcing. And I absolutely love being a part of that. So in addition, another thing that's big and why doTERRA is the timing. Like I said, that there are approximately 40,000 direct network marketing companies, and there's only about 9 who have reached the $1 billion mark. And the fastest company took 14 years to hit $1 billion. Well, doTERRA was able to do it in less than 7 years. So that's over twice as fast as the next company. And why that is because that people are looking for these natural solutions. They work, that they're safe, they're effective, they're affordable. And so there are so many people who are turning to using essential oils. Now, if you look at retention rate, so that's basically the people who join the company and they're able to get their products for wholesale. How often do they purchase? Do they purchase regularly? Well, the industry standard and how they describe that standard is that they make one purchase within a year. So for most companies, it's between 10 and 20%. So 10 to 20% of the people who buy something once will continue to purchase on a yearly basis. Now, doTERRA has a 65% retention rate. And what that retention rate is that every time someone purchases essential oils within 3 months, so every time they purchase something every 3 months, they would be counted as retained. So 65%. So that's even better than a year. When you use that year mark, the average is around 74% is the retention rate for doTERRA, that every year somebody's at least purchasing an oil. But even better, that every 3 months people are regularly purchasing oils because they work, because they are changing lives. And so what that says, and why this is good for a business, is that if you owned a business and you knew that you made sales to 100 people and that your retention rate was 10%, you know that 10% of those people that you bring in, so 10 people would purchase from you again in a year, within a year, Okay, that's not super secure. That means that you have to go find another 100 people just to get 10 more customers, and then find another 100 just to get 10 customers. So if you're dealing with doTERRA, if you were getting 100 people, 65% of those would be purchasing every 3 months, 74% would be purchasing every year. So that means a lot less work. That means that you don't have to be salesy. The oils do their thing. Basically, you share and you educate people how to use them. You don't have to be spinning your wheels. It allows you to focus on your team and on training and helping people. And the fun thing is that the average person can do this. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have all these amazing skills. There are 7 skills in network marketing, but a lot of those you probably already have because it's about relationships. It's about helping people. And so you probably have a lot of those skills already. And it enables you to make more money faster and doing it part-time. And the other reason why doTERRA, why did I choose doTERRA? Because it's about a team. It's about not creating a business by yourself, but with other people. Now, when I was had created my other business with eBay, it was all me. It was me trying to figure it out. eBay was not like this great source of, we're team and I'm going to help you be successful. No, here's the tools. Yes, here's a little bit of customer service, but that's about it. But with doTERRA, you actually have a team of people who are helping you to be successful. And these have become some of my greatest friends and some of the most successful people that I know. So many of these are making a 6-figure income. Some of them are earning $1 million or more a year from helping other people be successful. And we have proven systems and proven training. And so that's another reason why network marketing and why I chose doTERRA specifically is because of that team effort. And I believe these things, that if you treat people as if they were what they ought to be and you help them become what they are capable of becoming, then, you know, you're going to have success in life, not just financially, but you're going to have success in so many other aspects of your life. Now, I want to tell you that when I first got started, whether it was creating my first initial business or doTERRA, I had a lot of fears. I had a lot of hangups because I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that was kind of a hesitancy when I first started, especially with eBay, was jumping into something unknown. Because even though I went to school for business management, it was meaning I was coming into somebody else's business and I was managing. It wasn't, I was going to go and create my own business. It wasn't becoming an entrepreneur. So there was some fear that I had that, oh, could I do this? Is this reality? Is this a possibility that I could do it? Could I figure it out? And I discovered that I could, but I also discovered not everybody could. There were other people that I tried to help, like, yeah, this is a great idea, go sell on eBay, that I wasn't able to help them to duplicate what I did. Now, I've seen it over and over and over again with doTERRA because there's systems in place that nearly anybody could do what we do. And I did have some hangups coming into doTERRA, I will admit, because number one, it was a network marketing company, and I kind of had that fear of being known as that MLM person, that pyramid person. And so I had to overcome that fear. I found that as I focused on serving and helping other people, that it didn't matter to me if someone said no, and I wasn't there to bug people and try to get them into my thing. It was that through, honest sincerity, I wanted to help. If there was a need and somebody needed help, that I could be there to help provide a solution. So that helped me to overcome that obstacle. Another thing is that I'm not a salesperson, not at all a salesperson. I had a job in the mall once where we were selling clothes and we had certain requirements, and I absolutely hated it. I was awful at it. I finally quit because I was so terrible at it. I did telemarketing for DirecTV for about 4 weeks. And every time I would drive up to that place, I wanted to throw up. That's how much I feared it, hated sales. And so knowing that was one of my hangups, I, again, had to focus on I am helping people. And when I changed the way that I looked at it, that fear went away. Also, I didn't know if I knew any people because I was such an introvert. And the work that I did on eBay was like behind the scenes. It was online. I didn't get to know people. I didn't talk to people. It was all through email communication. And so that was something that I did fear, is like, oh, I'm gonna have to talk to people. And what I found is that people actually are enjoyable, and that even though I'm an introvert, that I still focused on helping with needs, and I'm okay. I'm okay doing that. And most people are, when they're not focused on themselves, that they're able to do amazing things. And then the third was financially. Like, how could we afford to start a business? We had moved from Utah to California and things were really tight. And thinking, how can we start a business? I know what I had to put into my other business. Like, could we afford it? And then what I discovered is that it actually didn't cost a lot of money to start, because I didn't have to buy products to sell. That I helped people to set up their own account directly with doTERRA so that they could purchase the oils at wholesale price. So I didn't have to purchase a bunch of product and then hope that people bought it, or gain a huge amount of education and hope that people would hire me, or that I would know enough to create, what I wanted to create. That the system was all set up in place by doTERRA, by our team, and so all of that was taken care of. Now, these things have really helped us to create financial freedom. So not just with the income that we have coming in. So every month we have this check that comes, whether I work or not, it comes now because people are using the oils and loving them. It's changing their lives. And they will continue to do that. But most of all, it's created freedom for me to choose when I want to work, where I want to work from, how many hours I want to work, and that I can fit it into the cracks of my life. So with 6 kids, you can imagine that there is a lot of time spent on just normal things. Well, with the income that I've created, I can pay some people to do those things. So I can pay somebody to do my laundry instead of having piles and piles and piles of kids' clothes to wash and fold and put away. That because of the income, I can pay people to do some of the things that I don't really like to do. But then also, I have the freedom to choose when I work. So if I'm the coach of my daughter's volleyball team, it didn't matter what the schedule was when they gave it to me, because I knew I had the freedom to make that fit into my life and say, yes, I can be there for the practices. I can be there for the games. And as things change and schedules change, I can shift that I'm not stuck or tied to somebody else's schedule of I have to come in at this time or I have to go home at this time, or having to choose, well, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and so I'm just going to go without, that our family's going to go out without these either experiences or certain things within their life that just make it more enjoyable or that they're passionate about. Again, I have kids that love sports, so they're able to go do that, whereas before we had to limit those things because we couldn't afford it. My daughter, who loves cooking, she wants to go to culinary school, and yes, we'll be able to afford to send her to do that, and that's one of her passions and one of her dreams, and not being held up because of my fears of stepping into something new and creating that. And my husband, he has a fabulous job, and I say that because he loves what he does. He teaches religious education and he would do it free. But again, we felt kind of the pinch with that because he's tied to certain hours, even though now he is doing something that he loves. Unlike a lot of people who do have jobs, he loves what he's doing. But we've also experienced how that does not create time freedom for him because he has to be there at certain hours and times. And so he misses out on a lot of the family things, whereas I don't. And at some point, I think he'll probably do it for free. But whether you're deciding to go out and create your own blog or build your own business, writing a book, or you are good at investing, real estate, whatever it may be, I hope that you've been open to that idea of becoming your own boss, that you'll never really create financial freedom and security by working for somebody else. You can always be let go. You can always be replaced by somebody else or by technology, and so you always are feeling a little insecure about those things. And so creating that income and also doing it in a way that it's a residual, reoccurring income, whether you ended up in the hospital and unable to work, that you still have that pipeline of income that's coming in. That is what creates that security, that feeling of peace, that things are okay. Now, if you want to get started, we are here. We're a team. We help you to get going. Whoever invited you to join this webinar, I recommend you get back to them and let them know that you're interested, that you're open to learning more of how you could get started and becoming your own boss. if doTERRA seems that that's the best plan B for you. Now, I want to let you know we won't be chasing you down, so make sure that you get back to the person that invited you and let them know that you want to learn more. And if I invited you, I'm going to focus on those and work with those that are ready to make those changes in their life. My time is precious, and so I only work now with those people who are ready to make those changes. And I have positions that are available on my team that need to be filled immediately. For those who I invited personally, you can go to discovernaturalsolutions.com and click on the work with me, and you can fill out the form there, or you can contact me directly at stacyruns.home@gmail.com. I'm excited. For those who have been on the webinar, you're welcome to post any questions that you may have. I'll stay on for a couple of minutes and answer those. And if not, we'll go ahead and end the webinar. And I hope, Sherry, that you're able to hear. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions coming up. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.